Hello creative Tartanites, and welcome back to another episode of my creative podcast. How are you all doing? I'm in a really good mood today. The sun has been out and I have just been to my dad's to drop off the present for him and his wife. Unfortunately, that means I don't have finished objects to show you because that was the only finished objects that I had. But I will put a picture up. But I'll talk more about that in a minute. I would just like to get the housekeeping out of the way, so to speak. So for anybody who's new to my channel, my name is Tanya and I am an eclectic creator. I love everything creative, from painting portraits to knitting, crochet, and I've even just started to learn how to spin my own yarn. You can find me on Instagram at Tartantaz. I also have a group on Facebook as well as Discord called the Creative Tartanite Tribe, and they are both free to join. Links to everything will be in the description below. So if you enjoy this kind of content and would like to participate in the group, then go and check it out, and I look forward to seeing you soon. So moving on. First things first, finished projects. As I've said, the only finished projects that I had were actually Christmas presents. In fact, they were late Christmas presents, but I managed to get them to my dad today. And I'm pleased to say that the socks fitted and they were well received, so I'm very pleased about that. So although I don't have the finished items to show you, here's a photograph of them. And what I do have still is what's left of the wool that I used. This is Stylecraft, and it is, I believe it's superwash wool. This is the Aussie, or Aussie, and this is the Pool. As you can see from the photograph, this is really quite defined stripes, self-striping, whereas this is a little bit more of a fade into the change of colours. I like both, but I'm sure you guys will have your own preferences. So that is that. So I'm really pleased that I've managed to get those Christmas presents finished, and to the people that they were for as well. I did give them a little something to have on Christmas Day, but it was only part of their present, and I had always intended for them to have what I gave them on Christmas Day as well as the socks. So yeah, I know that they're very avid readers, they enjoy books, so they got a little something in terms of books, and today they got their socks and the bookmark. Now the other finished item, not really sure you can call it finished per se, but I'm going to show you anyway as a finished, because it is my very, very, very first skein. Now I did show you this once before when it was on the Niddy Noddy, is that what it's called? I think so, yeah, the Niddy Noddy. And I just thought that the wool looks completely different as a kind of half-hearted attempt at making a skein. But that's what it looks like. It's a little bit messy, a little bit not quite even, but I actually think that looks pretty good. So yeah, sorry for showing you again, but I think it just looks so different as a skein than what it did on the Niddy Noddy. So I'm really pleased with that. I have also been practicing my spinning, and I will put a photograph here of the spool, reel, bobbin, whatever the terminology is that you use this is almost full, so almost at a point where I can start to practice plying. I think I might try the chain ply because that looks like it might be the most practical, because I've only got one spool or one bobbin of the yarn I've managed to do. So yeah, I think I'll try the chain ply to begin with and see how I go. Hopefully it won't be too thick a wool, and fingers crossed I will be able to knit something with it. So watch this space. You might see something a little bit different from me. Mind you, having said that, you might be a spinner yourself, and so it's not going to be feeling particularly different, but be different for me anyway nonetheless. So that's something that I'm really excited about. So that's all the finished items done with. I've got some works in progress, or at least I think I've got some works in progress. No, I've actually only got one work in progress actually on my needles. The other things are works in progress in my head, and I'll explain once I've shown you the work that I've got on my needles. This is an amazing tweed Aran wool, and I mentioned in the last video that I was going to be knitting the single malt jumper, and that is what this is. It's the start of the single malt jumper. Now I will say that I got a bit confused with the short rows, but that's because A, I've never done short rows before, B, the short rows were actually in the collar, so the ribbed collar, and not on the actual body of the work. So when I saw how many rows were to be for the short rows, I thought, good grief, that's going to make the collar at the back really, really long and just look off. But actually, it doesn't. So that's the back, and this is the front. I'm not sure if you can actually see the difference because it's navy, and we all know that navy looks black on screen and really difficult to see. But I'm really, really liking the pattern. I'm going to show this a little bit more close up and see. I'll have a look in the monitor to see if you can actually see the pattern that's going on. So that's the front. And that's the back. So you can see that. So I was just showing you the back and the front there, and you can see that there isn't really an awful lot of difference in terms of length of the collar. It's certainly not noticeable. And the other thing that confused me a little bit was this was my middle of round, my start of round marker. And as you can see, it's actually at the side. So I was a little bit confused with that to begin with, but then I realised that actually it doesn't matter that the start of row is to the side. And so because initially I thought I'd done it wrong, because I'm a beginner, I thought I had done it wrong. But I would just like to give a shout out to I would just like to give a shout out to Hannah from the Corner of Craft channel. She was initially the one that inspired me to try the malt, single malt jumper, because I saw that she had knitted it and it looked so lovely on her podcast. I messaged her through her Discord channel and she helped me to figure it out. And so yeah, thank you very much for that, Hannah. It was very much appreciated, the time that you took to help me with that one. So yeah, it's knit in, as I say, Aran wool, and funnily enough, my son is called Aran, but it's A-R-R-A-N for my son's name. Apparently it means man's island, whereas Aran wool is obviously just the single R. So yes, the Aran jumper for Aran. So that's that. Now, I do hope that this particular video isn't too mind-numbingly boring, because most of it's really just me talking about things, because I don't have the objects here to actually show. But I would like to move on to something is a very first for me. I've seen lots of other people participating and being this, but I've never actually applied for it until now, and I have been accepted to be a test knitter. Now I've got the details here, so just bear with me just one tick while I go on and grab them. Because I don't want to get it wrong. Now on Instagram, I noticed that Mary from Mary Dittle Makes was asking for test knitters. Now, if this doesn't work, I will pop a picture up there. But these are socks that, in fact, I'll pop a picture up as well. These are the socks that she is asking for test knitters. They have a lovely kind of almost braided effect running down the front of the sock there, and I figured I could do that. Looks like it's got a little picot top for the rib as well. So I messaged her as per her instructions on her Instagram, and I'll leave her Instagram down below, the link to her Instagram. Yeah, I'm really excited about trying these out. As I said, this is my very first test knit, and I believe that it's her very first design. Beautiful design, love it, yeah, I almost cast on before I filmed this because I was getting so excited about it, but then I figured that actually I probably better film this first, and that way I'm not getting distracted by knitting these lovely socks and not getting the filming done because then I wouldn't have a video to put up. So I decided that this took the priority today. So yeah, it moves me kind of nicely on to my acquisitions, because literally just yesterday these arrived. How lovely are these colours? These are West Yorkshire Spinners signature 4-ply, and they're just, oh, they're just so gorgeous. So yeah, I've been like, oh, will I do those socks with these, or will I do it with these two? Somebody suggested that I do with all three, and have the contrast in the teal for the toe and the heel and the cuff, and so I was like, okay, I posted this because I I'm having difficulty in choosing, but you've just given me more choice, thank you. We are such enablers, aren't we? And then I started to think, well, actually, the reason I had bought this was to put it with my mini skeins to make a pair of socks, which I've got the knitting pattern for. So I was like, maybe I won't use this one. And then I thought, oh, do you know, I have these. I have this one. Maybe I can do the socks with this. So now I'm like, I've got all these choices. Which one do I make? I confess I'm really kind of edging towards not using this one because I really want to use it with my mini skeins, with the 5 grams. So I don't know how much of this I will use. Probably not a lot. But yeah, I'd rather, then I can always buy more. This is the thing, I can always buy more. But now I'm like, do you know, I really like these. And this then ties me into my other purchase. So my other acquisition. I have just bought one of these. So this will help me to wind up the skeins that I have, because I've started to get quite a few of these, so I figured it was time that I got one of these. I know I could have it round the back of a chair, but this just makes life so much easier, and I'm all about making life easy for myself. There's absolutely no point. It wasn't that particularly expensive. I think I got it for around about 25 to 30 pounds. As I said, it wasn't particularly expensive, so yeah, and it looks really nice. I like it. And I could have got a cheaper one, but it was more the kind of sort of plastic and nylon-y stretchy bits. But I just like the aesthetic of the wood. So that's my personal preference. Might not be yours, but it is mine. So that is that. So I'm not really sure how long this video is going to be because I haven't really had a lot to show you. It's all been mostly showing of photographs and talking about things. And a lot of the things that I'm talking about I've kind of had shown as works in progress in other videos as well. So it kind of feels like I haven't been talking as long as normal, but that's not to say that I haven't, because then I'd probably embarrass myself by looking at the video and realising that actually it is just as long as it usually is, because I can talk for Scotland. So yeah, if you're still with me, thank you so very much for allowing me to rabbit on so much. I hope that you have found something of interest. Anything I talk about, if I think it's of use to you, I will put links in the description. If you have any questions at all, please leave me a comment. I love to chat with you guys. It just makes my day when I see that someone has left me a comment, because I do love to interact, and one of the reasons why I do these videos is to kind of get that sense of community and that you know, feeling like I'm among friends, because we all like to have friends. One last thing before I go. I kind of told you last week what I was thinking about in terms of my shop and using January as the month to kind of sort of review things. I think I was probably being a little bit too ambitious about that. I will kind of review things throughout the month of January, but I suspect it's going to be a little bit longer than just simply in January. and everything's going to be wonderful and fabulosy in February. I will just have to keep going and see what happens. I do have a lot of knitting on the go at the moment, so I haven't really done a lot of sewing, but I would really like to get started on designing and making my own project bags. Apart from anything else, I actually could do with some for myself. And then if they're successful, then I'll probably pop them in the shop. But I will keep you updated on that. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this week. You guys are amazing. Thank you so very much for watching. And don't forget, look after your mental well-being, because nobody else can. And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye for now.